Now to a typically bullish Sam Allardyce, who declared that Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, nor Mikel Arteta are better football managers than him. He said that on his first day in the job at Leeds. Well, speaking just hours after Javi Gracia was sacked, Allardyce was named his successor. The former England boss responded to his critics and insisted his style of management isn't outdated and he's the best qualified man to help Leeds avoid relegation.
Far too many people think that I am old and antiquated, which is so far from the truth. I might be 68 and look old, but there's nobody ahead of me in football terms. Not Pep, not Klopp, not Arteta. So it's all there with me, and I share it with them. They do what they do. I do what I do. But in terms of knowledge and depth of knowledge, I'm up there with them. I'm not saying I'm better than them, but certainly as good as they are.
Big statement from Big Sam. Let's go to our senior reporter, Tim Thornton, who was speaking to Allardyce in that news conference. Tim, hello again. Not short of confidence. Was he surprised to get the call, though?
I think he was surprised to get the call, Mike, but I think he's very happy to get the call. He would have liked that call maybe 11 games ago when Javi Gracia was given the position, because it would have given him more time to turn Leeds United's season around. As you heard there, he doesn't lack self-confidence, self-belief. I think he feels that he can turn it around here. His only concern is whether he's got enough time to do so with only 4 games to go. But he did point out that Brentford have already won at Manchester City this season. Don't forget, Leeds go there on Saturday. And he also will take comfort, I think, from the fact that Leeds did win at Manchester City 2 years ago when they had a man sent off, Liam Cooper, in the first half, and still went on to win the game with 2 Stuart Dallas goals. So perhaps a positive sign or two for Leeds. But as far as Allardyce is concerned, he says he's never moved quicker to accept a job. But in terms of getting the call to take over, well, this was his reaction.
It was a shock because this time of the season, and as many managers that had changed hands, which was the biggest amount of managers ever in the history of the Premier League, I thought, well, it's all over now for this season. So to get the call was quite surprising, of course, but it was only a couple of minutes before I said yes. So, and then obviously, because of the situation, was to rush through as quick as we possibly could the entire process, so I could be here for at least a reasonable lead into Manchester City. Obviously, I've had a lot of response from many people who I know have sent in their congratulations, and a few have said I must be mad.
Is this just 4 matches, or would you reconsider at the end if it goes well?
Never say never, and it depends what happens at the end of the 4 matches and what the conversation's all about, like you mean, and how I feel, and more importantly, how the wife feels.
Exactly, it's down to Mrs. Allardyce whether they stay up. Tim, you've mentioned it, 4 games to go, so he's got to get cracking sharpish. What's his message to his players?
Well, he's been on the training ground with them today. They had a team meeting around midday today, got all the players together. He got the leadership committee together here at Leeds, the senior players, and he asked them, where do you think we can improve? His idea is quite simple. He needs to work on their defensive shape because he knows they're conceding too many goals. That's the main problem for Leeds. 23 in the month of April, which is a Premier League record. And in 4 of the last 7 Premier League games, they've conceded 4 or more goals. So he knows that against Manchester City, for example, this weekend, they won't dominate possession, but they need to be better out of possession.
I don't really think there's too much of a problem with Leeds in possession, but it is a massive problem when they haven't got it because of the amount of goals they've conceded. So if we are to stay in the Premier League, they need to stop conceding goals like they concede, you know, and that's a part of the big job in the next 4 games, that the players being able to to cope without out of possession, to not allow the opposition to score so easily.
Who's going to be in his backroom staff?
Well, Sammy Lee won't be in his backroom staff, first of all. We're used to Big Sam and Little Sammy. They normally work together, but Sammy Lee is on jury service at the moment, so he can't take up the position. And Allardyce talked about that today when he said he thought it was poor judgment from the judge to not allow him to take the position. He feels it's unfair to leave him effectively unemployed. But in the absence of Sammy Lee, Carl Robinson has come in. The two know each other well. They've kept in touch over the years, having worked together at Blackburn Rovers. He's been out of work, Robinson, since leaving Oxford earlier in the season, but he's also been the manager at MK Dons and Charlton, so he's vastly experienced and he's very, very enthusiastic about taking on the job here. I saw him on the training ground earlier on today. He was taking the session with Allardyce observing, and you could see his humour coming across and his enthusiasm with the players. So he took the session along with Allardyce today, and then a little bit later on this afternoon, Robbie Keane arrived here at the Leeds United training ground. Now, his position here was discussed last night, but the call went in to Keane this morning to say, yes, it's on, you're coming. And his response was to immediately get himself from Dublin to Leeds very, very quickly. He was here by mid-afternoon, having only received the call at 9 o'clock this morning. So I think that illustrates just how keen he is to come to Leeds United and to play his part in their survival bid. So, yeah, 3 very experienced figures, 4 big games coming up, and Leeds need points to stay in the Premier League.
Be some story if he keeps them up. Tim Thornton, our senior reporter at Leeds Training Ground. Thank you.